Hey everybody, this is Travis, and I know it's been a long time since I've done a video, but I want to give you a quick update as I'm still on my healing journey with Eosinophilic Esophagitis and Hashimoto's thyroiditis, oral allergy syndrome, and probably other things going on in there. Over the last couple of years, I've tried several things on my healing journey. I'm really trying to prioritize how my healing needs to take place. You know, there's the physical, obviously, but also tied in with the physical is trauma, because all autoimmune diseases are triggered by some kind of a trauma. And in my case, you know, I've been trying to work through mental and spiritual trauma that I've been through, and that's where my efforts have been focused over the last 2 years. I've done things like neuro-emotional technique, also called NET. I'll do another video on that one, but that was probably the most significant thing that I've done. It moved the needle quite a bit on my healing. I've also done some acupuncture, trying to get into the energy movement, trying to remove blockages. I've done Qigong, which I've talked about. That's spelled Qigong. A lot of meditation, and Qigong is kind of like a moving meditation, if you will. You actually go through, like, I'll say karate moves. It's non-fighting, but it's still going through some movements. It's very low impact. Matter of fact, it's more of a flow state. You're trying to get the energy to moving. And that's been probably the second most beneficial thing. Acupuncture, I only did 3 sessions. It was kind of expensive. It was like $80 for an hour, and that was just outside my budget. So I did it 3 times and went back to the Qigong. So what I'm trying now, and this was recommended by a friend of mine, is biofeedback. And biofeedback in conjunction with what's called a Rife machine, R-I-F-E. And I went through my first biofeedback about 3 weeks ago. And what this was is I sat in an office. Matter of fact, the office is right there. It's just like one of those little, looks like an apartment complex, but it's nothing but business offices. And it's really small. I mean, it's just a walk-in. I won't even call it a clinic. It's just a walk-in office. And I had like a 30-minute meeting with the practitioner who did a biofeedback thing, and she just wrote down some basic information. But this is really weird. One of those situations that you almost have to go through to believe that it happened. So the first thing she does is hook like this little strap around your head for biofeedback, and she hooks it into this machine, and she just kind of sits there, and you're talking. You're relaxed. I was in a recliner. My feet were kicked out, relaxing. You can't cross your feet. You know, you got to have the current going all through your body, so you can't cross current. And after 10 minutes, she evaluates your biofeedback and pulls your medical history from that. Now, I didn't fill out a medical history like mom and dad had this, that, and the other, and I've had this, that, and the other. You know, your typical new patient paperwork that most medical facilities have you do. You know, how many broken bones do you have? Have you had this disease? You know, she didn't do any of that. So she pulls this out. She goes, "Oh, okay, interesting. So you've had shingles. Looks like twice." Wow, yeah, I've had shingles twice. Not recently. I mean, we're talking 15 years ago. She goes, "Okay, tell me about these chronic headaches that you had." Wow. Yeah, I almost had debilitating headaches about 12 years ago, about the time I was divorcing my family from this whole church nonsense, which I've probably talked about before. We left church, and my parents' church, because I thought they were nuts in a nutshell, and got disowned, and not just disowned, but attacked by them and other people at that cult. So, yeah, knew about that. It took me almost a year and a half to finally get rid of those. Went to a neurologist. I went to pain clinics. Finally, combination of chiropractic and massage got rid of them. So it was a good thing. So tell me about that. She goes, "You've had COVID." So I did have COVID. She goes, "Yeah, not too recently either. Maybe like 2 months ago." Well, it was undiagnosed, but I did have some of the symptoms of that. I mean, I had the cough and some weird things going on. I was on vacation, didn't have to go into work. My wife and I were home alone. Didn't get tested for it, but very much likely. She goes, "And you've also had the COVID vaccine and the COVID boosters, because here's the markers from that that show up, and some of the other things that show up with people who have had those shots, or yeah, the boosters." And there was a couple of other things that she went through that was just, you know, really eye-opening. Like, okay, she's either a very, like, a clairvoyant guesser, or this thing's got some validity to it. And she talked about some other things, surgeries that I'd had, and um, tonsils being out, and just things like that picked up through that, and some of the trauma. You've been through some stuff, so to speak. So that was the first session that I had with her. So following that, we looked at other things, and she looked at my thyroid. She goes, well, your thyroid's in the low normal zone on this. And again, this is not based on blood work. This is based on just that biofeedback band that she had on for 10 minutes. Your body's fighting some other things here. Tell me about this other condition that you're fighting. So, well, that's eosinophilic esophagitis. She goes, oh, okay. I do know a little bit about that. And she pulls up this documentation from the Mayo Clinic that talks about eosinophils. They're only caused by two different sources, either from allergies or from parasites. And the treatment that I've gone through, the specialists at the University of Cincinnati Children's Hospital, they tell you that they treat it as an allergy, but they can't find any direct links to allergies. Like they'll put you through the food panel and find out what your food allergies are, but those things don't directly tie into your EOE. And they'll put you on a top 8 allergen elimination diet. Don't drink milk, or don't touch soy, or stay away from wheat and gluten, and seafood, and the nuts, some of the other things that are on the list. And they'll eliminate that, but they'll tell you, we don't know why this works. At least that's what they told me. We don't know why this works. We just know that there's a correlation there somehow. And she's like, yeah, that's the new practitioner I'm going to says, yeah, that's true, but it also, they overlook the other cause of that, which is parasites. And you think, what's a parasite? Well, it's this weird thing. Think like tapeworms, pinworms, things like that. We're like, we're in the United States. We don't have that issue. That's those third world countries that have that. They don't have good sanitation and good hygiene problems. Well, it does exist here more than you think. We do expose ourselves to a lot more. If a dog licks you in the face, you're being exposed to whatever that dog's had. And gosh, dogs have worms. That's why we deworm our pets, right? She also said, you probably grew up on a farm, didn't you? So how do you know that? She goes, well, I'm picking up on these molds and other things from when you were really young. So, well, I did grow up on a farm, and I grew up working in hay a lot. And if you've ever worked in hay, been on a farm, you realize that hay gets moldy sometimes. And you're picking up bales of hay, or you're busting open hay, and you're feeding your livestock, and all those molds and garbage, toxins, pollutants are getting up in your nose. You're breathing all that in. Your body can handle most of it, but some of it kind of seeps its way into the nooks and crannies and hangs out and causes problems later on. So that leads us to the Rife machine, the R-I-F-E. And this technology has been around for about 100 years. In a nutshell, what a Rife machine does is it takes sound waves and busts up the parasites, the bacteria, the viruses that are in your body. The theory is that a lot of these things are what causes all the diseases that we have right now. Like there's certain research that shows that every person with cancer has this certain type of bacteria, and everyone who has other illnesses or diseases also happens to have a corresponding parasite or a bacteria or something like that. And this Rife machine will go in there and bust those parasites or the bacteria or whatever up. And you can look up YouTube videos on that, and there's some really cool videos out there of this working. So it does work. I've read articles on Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, other research things, and there's some skepticism about whether this is true science, true medical care or not. I mean, it's not covered by insurance, so obviously insurance companies don't think so. But let me point out something on that. There's something called health insurance, and then there's sick insurance, and the American insurance structure is based almost 100% on sick insurance. Once you get sick, we will put you through medical treatments to get you well. They're really not invested on getting back to the root cause of things, and definitely not on preventive measures. There'll be some things like we have Humana at work, and we have the Go 365 program, and it's supposed to encourage healthy living. But it's you could check a box. We did it. It's really not going to do that much for you. And also, there's a business relationship between insurance and the medical companies out there. We all know this. They're going to refer you to something that's in the medical industry. It's going to be a medicine that the FDA has approved, they can make money on. They don't like typically people that can heal themselves through non-traditional medicines. There's not a lot of money. I mean, I looked up what these Rife machines cost. They're not super expensive. Thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, basically, someone with a pretty decent income could probably buy one of these things and set up their own little shop in their house, in their basement or something. So anyway, I sort of take it with a grain of salt when big medical places have some skeptical things. I mean, I believe that they have the best of intentions, but I also believe there's a hard division in many people's minds between Western medicine and then, you know, research-based, lab-funded, government-funded medicine that you have to pay for, and more of a non-traditional or Eastern medicine approach. Things like Qigong or massage or even the Rife machine. It touches more on Chinese medicine than it does Western medicine. So, you know, I say all that not to endorse one way or the other. I'm not a medical person. I'm not telling you what to go do. This is my healing journey. This is where I've come to on my decision on this. You know, it's worth a try. It's not expensive. Each session that I've gone through so far has cost $50 for about a 2-hour session. At the end of the day, yeah, it's out of pocket, but I can justify it if it works out. If it doesn't work out, I'll go try something else, right? I really don't want to be one of those people that has a lingering disease all their life. You know, I think there's ways that, you know, God has made our bodies to heal, and that we have not touched on everything that He has provided for us. I really think Eastern medicine, in a lot of ways, has touched on that more than Western medicine has, because we rely too much on the tools and not as much on us and the natural energies, the Holy Spirit, if you want to call it that, the Qi, the Ki, various things that the Eastern language is used to describe the life energy. So anyway, there are different frequencies on the Rife machine that go after different things. So you can attune it to go after certain types of parasites, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. You can set them to go after different bacteria, different viruses, things like that. I have today's session, I have another one, and then we'll reevaluate from there. In the meantime, some of the other things that she has asked me to do, I'm taking 2 drops of thyme oil, which is an essential oil, once a day. And thyme oil, I did research this also, it is shown to destroy eosinophils and basophils, which are the things that I have through my eosinophilic esophagitis. Instead of taking it in caplet form, I'm actually taking just the drops, putting them in water, and if you've never smelled thyme oil before or tasted it, it's like kerosene. It's horrible. So I take a lot of, it's called Mio, M-I-O, and it's like a water flavoring thing that has some nutrients in it. And I get that, and I just load that water down with it, probably twice as much as I normally would if I was just going to drink it for an enjoyable drink. Stir it up really, really good, and drink it down as fast as I can, a whole glass of it. It's like 1 drop per 4 ounces, so I'd take a whole glass, which is 2 drops. Don't eat or drink 10 minutes before or after. That way it kind of coats the esophagus, and it kills the eosinophils on the way down. I'm probably going to be doing that for a month or 2. Also, she gave me some kind of, I'll just call it deworm medicine. I forget what one of them is called. The one I'm on right now, ivermectin. Okay. Yay. Kills the COVID too, right? Yeah, I don't really want to get into all that. I'm taking it for on product or on label uses. It's for humans. I'm not taking horse paste, putting it on toast. I actually ordered some from a company. It's 12 milligram pills twice a day for human use, for the exact use that being treated for. So again, I'm not getting into it for COVID or anything like that. This is actually for what it's made for. I don't recommend, again, not a doctor, but my personal philosophy is don't take things for symptoms that they're not intended for unless a doctor specifically tells you for it, to do it. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. I've been on that for half a week. I'm supposed to take that for a whole week. I'm trying to think of what else. Some dietary changes that I'm taking. She gave me, the practitioner gave me a lot of books to read on this, and basically parasites and bacteria and all the negative things out there. You know what they feed on? Sugar and carbs. So I've really skimmed those out again. I know I've done low carb before, I've done keto before, lost a lot of weight, felt really good for various reasons. I didn't get back on it over the last 2 years. Sort of edging my way back that way, trying to find a safe way to do it with the EOE. Hopefully these treatments will eliminate the reactions that I have on some of the foods, because even on keto, there's some foods that can really light you up, especially dairy and other things like that. So anyway, I'm gonna head in and get hooked up, do a Rife session number 3. I may shoot a video from the inside just to show you what the equipment looks like. It's very simple. It's not scary at all. And then I'll give you a follow-up report. I'll see you inside. Okay, so here I am getting a Rife treatment. I'm in the Rife room. It's just a little office here, which is very small. And you'll see that the actual equipment here, let's see if I can get around the front here. This looks like a little light bulb on the inside with like a little hood. There's the actual equipment there, an amplifier, but it kind of takes sound waves that are set to certain frequencies to work on certain specific things. Like today I'm working on yeast, bacteria, and viruses. In the past, working on eosinophils and some other things to treat my EOE. This one is kind of more toward the thyroid issues. So anyway, I'm on here for about an hour and a half today. The first 2 sessions I was on for about 2 hours each. Anyway, the theory is that the sound waves are going to find the bacteria or parasites and destroy them. There's videos out there on YouTube a lot about this, and it is shown to work through other research that's been done by other places you would understand, Mayo Clinic, or the place you would have heard of, not understand, but a place you would have heard of, like the Mayo Clinic or Johns Hopkins, I think. So anyway, should have at least 1 session left after this, and then we will reevaluate. I'll tell you more later. Okay, so I just finished my 3rd Rife session. It took about 2 hours this time. And again, you saw what it was like inside. It was just kind of sitting there, read books, check on work emails, regular emails, surf the internet looking for health information, things like that. You pretty much just sit there. So this is really not a lot of, it's not high impact. It's very relaxing, actually. Matter of fact, I opened my Calm app and did a 11-minute meditation while I was sitting in there. So again, this session was focused on yeast and bacteria and viruses. There's different ways you can attune it to go after specific things in your body. So that was what this session was about. The practitioner said that this one, I'm probably going to be a little bit more tired after this one. And it's one thing, when you get out of there, you do feel kind of drained. I know some scientists say, oh, there's nothing to this. I feel more tired when I get out of there, so I know it's doing something, and I can feel a little something in my midsection where the Rife was being directed. So anyway, that was session number 3, and looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with this. I'm going to meet with her again for 1 more session next week, and then we'll do a follow-up session and kind of reevaluate where we go from here. Talk about doing like a liver cleanse, maybe adjusting some of the supplements that I'm on, and definitely making some dietary changes, which I've already started on anyway, just to try to be more in line with what the EOE and the thyroid need from me, since I try not to fight against the diseases. Not always successful at that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this session. If you have any questions, drop them below.